What is going on, guys? It's Adam and Marf, and today's show is going to be packed. We have a whole weekend to catch up on, including Quakes, all sorts of politics, and all sorts of ugly stuff, too. So stick around. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else on the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. This is a live show, so anything can and will happen. What is going on, guys? I'm Adam, a.k.a. Marf. If you're new here, this is a live show. Normally, it's a call-in. Every other show, again, tonight is a news only. We have a lot to cover, of course. We have so much that has piled up over the weekend to tell you about. I mean, there's a lot of actually really exciting stuff, really scary stuff, and some really obvious stuff that people should be seeing, and a couple rants in between. So let's get started here. Let's bring in Dex. Dex is my co-host / internet brother. What is going on, Dex, and how are you?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
Now, there's some other things that I need to tell you guys. Of course, right here is where we archive all of the stories. If you go to marfooglenews.com, you'll be able to see every single video, every single tweet, every single article. Anything that we show you here is going to actually be here on our website. Now, when you look for today's thumbnail, Down the Drain, you will see the End of the Dollar show. When you click on that, it will have every single link to every single source, because we want you to know exactly where your information is coming from. Now, on the bottom is the special part. Of course, if there is too hot for TV stuff, that will be down at the very bottom. That is news that you need to read. Of course, do that on your own time. You'll be able to do it tomorrow, whenever. You can take your time on that. If you want to support us in any way, we're independent. We are trying to grow into an actual agency, so please consider going over to the right side and supporting through any of our affiliates or our PayPal or our Amazon link. All right, let's get right into it. Yeah, and just to remind you, if you do not get notifications, or you're like, how does this show work? Why does it always start at different times? You can actually get our notifications from marfooglenews.com. Again, that's marfooglenews.com. You can actually sign up for push notifications right there, and email alerts. All right, getting into the news, of course, collapsing star produces one of the most epic cosmic explosions ever seen. When some stars die, they collapse and go supernova, creating bright flashes of gamma rays and X-rays known as gamma ray bursts, or GRBs, are thought to be the biggest explosions in the universe. And now scientists have observed one closer than ever before, leading to a surprise that challenges our understanding of the massive blasts that can also give birth to black holes. NASA's Fermi and Swift satellites, of course, detected a gamma ray burst in the direction of the constellation Eridanus, and yes, that has... okay, I'm not going to say that. On August 29th, 2019, it was cataloged by GRB 19829A, and almost immediately, observatories around the world automatically shifted to collect more data on the cosmic event. Dex, what do you think about this as far as the GRBs and all of this?
Well, this one is the reason this is such a big deal. They're coming out and saying that this was 20 times closer than ever before. So they've got, I guess, data and analysis that is coming in, and it happens like the initial blast is one thing. That's like a few seconds, but then what happens afterwards lasts for a very long time. It's like a slow fading afterglow. So I guess the analysis and what they're releasing about this and what they're talking about this is sort of a big deal. I guess we've never seen it before. They've never seen it before. If you remember, we talked, I think it was last week, about how they were mapping what they call dark matter in space. And when they did that, they're like, oh my gosh, everything looks different than we actually thought it was. And they were basically saying, hey, we may have to rewrite, what we know about space, or what we know about how the universe works. And again, this is one of those other things they've come out and said, hey, this is going to change our understanding, because we've never had this happen so close to us, and now we can observe it.
So again, we've talked about it, and we said that they're probably going to hit us in the side of the head and say all of physics are different than it actually is. Everything that we know has been a lie. Kind of like I think some people had the beginning of the feeling when just about a year and a half ago they told us that the moon was inside of the Earth's atmosphere. Now, when you first say that, if you don't know about that story and you missed that about a year and a half ago, you might be a little confused. You're like, what? The moon is technically in the I think it was the geocoronal part of it. And I think it's said the other way, but I can't say that. It is in the last part of our atmosphere. In fact, it's well inside of the last part. The last part of our atmosphere actually goes, there's, bits of oxygen like another 200,000 miles past the moon. So it's inside or well inside of our atmosphere. So when that came out, the one thing I will say is a lot of people were like, whoa, how are they saying this now? Like, they're just changing things up. I think that they're going to change things up a whole lot more. So I guess the main point of this, if you didn't get all this garble, is that things are changing in the known science, right? Or at least what they tell us. So we're going to see a lot more changes, and we're going to see a lot more new things. And who knows? I don't know if this is tied into the whole report that's going to come out. But again, what do you guys think? I would love to hear you in chat. I'm going to go over there in just a second. What was that?
And Adam, I was going to say, this is, you just said it. This happened in 2019. But it's today that they're releasing, or 3 days ago that they're releasing the report, right? They're saying, it took this much time to either put it together, or they're coming out with this report now to set the stage for something else that's happening with all of this information, right?
Because if you were going to release something that just made absolute no sense, you might want to release some of the stuff that makes it make sense. Maybe, I don't know. And then, of course, we have Jeff Bezos is going to space on first crewed flight of rocket. Oh, my gosh. I know that there are certain people that are probably cheering this on because this is, I don't know. How safe is space flight? Like, I'm sorry. It seems like this isn't like they drive a car every day. They don't do, as many of these as, say, a truck drive across the country. Some people are probably rooting him on to go on a human test flight of this thing just because of some of their records, right? That is scary, and that would be insane as far as we're seeing an elite actually fly to space. It says Jeff Bezos will be flying to space on the first crewed flight of the New Shepard, the rocket ship made by his space company Blue Origin. The flight is scheduled for July 20th, just 15 days after he is set to resign as CEO of Amazon. That is, okay, even freakier. You guys know about the mass exodus of CEOs, how there's been over 3,000 CEOs exit their positions in just the last 2 years. And we're talking about some of them, they have gone in and looked at the details of it, and they're like, why? Some of these guys are 26 years old, and you're saying, well, if they made enough money, then they can just retire. But we're talking about where they've had offers that are 3, 4, 5 times as much right after they leave that job, and they're not taking that job. And it's the easiest, cushiest job ever, where it's, the ultimate job where you basically sit around and you're the face of the company, and they're not taking it. They're retiring, and retiring for good. Now, some would say that this is, looking at it in a certain light. I would say so. I think that there is some part of me that thinks that the ultra, and we're talking about richer than people that you would ever even be able to get 10 feet within, people with security guards that you don't even know are there, those kind of people are all leaving their positions. They're all retiring. They're all doing something. Do they know something that we don't? That is my question. Is something happening right now that is going to change the world? I personally think so. What do you think? Tell me in the chat below. But again, Blue Origin said Bezos' younger brother, Mark Bezos, will also join the flight. So we might lose both Bezos. But by the way, this isn't SpaceX. They have not done as many. I think this is the first crewed flight. They must be pretty confident to send their number one elite dude up there in it. It's kind of weird. Like, why? Why would you go on the first one? Why wouldn't you go on the 100th without any accidents?
Well, Richard Branson said he was going to do the same thing with his Virgin Galactic.
I guess it's like the captain of a ship, like if it goes down, the captain goes down with it or something.
Unless this is their exit.
Okay, so what if they were trying to leave Earth? Like, what if they're doing it sooner than we thought? Like, that's freaking creepy. Elon could just go whenever. Nobody would even notice, except for his Twitter. He would have to have like a Twitter bot that just posts random things. And then, of course, Sun Valley guest list includes Mark Zuck, David Zaslav, Jeff Bezos, and Diane Sawyer. So this is kind of like a Bilderberg group kind of thing. It says, fresh off the upending the media landscape with their deal to combine Warner Media and Discovery chief David Zaslav and AT&T head John Stakely will touch down in Sun Valley, Idaho in July for Allen's and Company's annual media conference. It says it will be joined by the annual confab of power brokers and media barons by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, fresh off of his $8.5 billion deal to purchase Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, or MGM. It says Ann will hit the resort at a time when most insiders believe that Hollywood and Silicon Valley are in the midst of an unprecedented period of consolidation. So just to translate that, we're talking about monopolies here, and I'm sorry, but Bezos now just bought one of the biggest studios out there, MGM, and he already owns all of these other things. You're talking about putting that all under one guy's. That also means they'll have the power to decide what comes out as far as big blockbuster movies. This is how some would say propaganda is made. Dex, would you disagree?
Not at all. And we're not just seeing that. We're also going to see Apple and potentially Google and others make huge investments in this consolidation between, Hollywood and it's basically the power, right? Who has the power of the news, the media, who has the power of the entertainment, who has the power of the technology, right? And, it wasn't that long ago we said, hey, all media is controlled by 6 families. Well, before it won't be much longer that all media, entertainment, and technology are going to be controlled by a smaller subset. Like
1 or 2 families. The guest list for this, it definitely has the hair on the back of people's necks standing up. Again, they actually were supposed to do this last year. They put it off on a hiatus because of CV, and now it's back on. This is seriously like one of the most Bilderberg-y kind of groups that we've seen, other than, Bilderberg. It says the guest list for Sun Valley is once again overflowing with the kind of bold-faced names with the cash and egos to spur a fresh wave of M&A. It says there's Apple's Tim Cook, Berkshire Hathaway's Warren Buffett, Walt Disney CEO Bob Chapek, Facebook's Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg, Netflix Ted Sarandos, Reed Hastings, Sony CEO Kenichiro Yoshida, Comcast Brian Roberts, and they're joined in with Dealmakers Club by Liberty Global Chairman John Malone and top lieutenants Mike Fries and Greg Maffei. Live Nation CEO Michael Rapino, Brian Lourd, ICM's Chris Silberman, we've talked about him before, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella, so still involved, Viacom CBS Sherry Redstone, Viking Global Investors Andreas Halverson, and of course, it looks like Jason Kyler, the Warner Media CEO, who's widely expected to be the odd man out and lose his job when the company's spinoff with Discovery is finalized. That's kind of that kind of hurts, right? But these are some of the richest media moguls in the world, and they're all going to meet in one place. So expect some big things to happen in the near future, because guess what? If you do believe in Fantastic Freddy's, how do you think that they are covered? How do you think that they are perpetrated so widely? And people, how could you do that? How could they do it across all these networks? And how could it be fake? Just saying.
The other interesting thing, this thing is off limits to the press, but they are letting in certain press for networking so that they can network with other people, right? And of course, it's who you would expect from the press organization. And they're also having a select set of people from the education world, universities, come in as well. So it is, if you think about like the media, the press, the university systems, entertainment, technology, it is definitely one of the most interesting organization of people in a private setting for whatever they're going to be doing.
This is just insanity. Also, Dorsey and others are expected to possibly make an appearance. We're talking about, this is like the ultimate propaganda meeting, if I've ever seen one. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. And on another note, before we go over to the chat and everything else, if you have not already, make sure to go check out EMP Shield more than ever. People need to be looking at this, especially with all of the cyber crimes and cyber events that are happening right now. Whether you believe they are Russia or whatever country they are, it doesn't really matter. As far as I believe the next really, really big event will be our power going out. And some would say that that's a scary thought. But again, look at what's actually happening. We've shown you what is actually going on. They are telling us that this is a big threat. DHS, Department of Homeland Security, is telling us this is a giant threat. So I've even said in the past, even if you don't go through us, go through somebody else if you have to. If you go through us, you'll actually get $50 off per device, and you'll be able to help our channel at the same time. We are independent. Again, these affiliates help us actually grow. Then again, it protects you against all three phases of an EMP, E1, E2, and E3, and there are multiple devices, the most popular being the car. So, and then, of course, your house, generator, ham radio, solar system. People don't think about that. Again, all of those are covered. Marfooglenews.com/EMP. Greatly appreciated. Thank you all for doing it in advance.
And Adam, there's 3 days left on that contest. So everybody I know that wants to get out there and try and win one, is your last chance. So 3 more days to sign up.
Let me go back to that again. I actually I thought that was over. I thought that
we have 3 days. I just checked it.
Okay, so hold on. I actually thought that was already done. It may have been extended. Again, go to marfooglenews.com/contest. Is this still with INL?
Yeah, it's the same one. They ran this one a little bit longer, give everybody more chances to get in.
Okay, so this is also with Stephen Benoon. They are running it as well. If you go through this, go to marfooglenews.com/contest. They were giving us a chance to try to get winners out to both of our audiences, which I think is really cool. Again, multiple ways to enter, including daily bonus entries. So if you don't have the money for one, at least try to win one. Again, you'll be able to choose which device you get. All right, and then let me go over to the chat. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Ricky, RY guy, thank you so much for your support. Says, I don't always have spare fiat currency, but when I do, I like to give it away. I forgot to say thanks for all you do, Adam, Dex, and mods. I love the show. I thought you were going to say, I don't always have fiat currency, but when I do, it's Dos Equis. Or wait, is it Disaronno? I forget. What is that guy, the most interesting guy in the world?
It's Dos Equis.
Yeah, I don't always have fiat currency, but when I do, it's Dos Equis. Phoenix Foxwell, thank you for subscribing. As always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout out. JFTT Franco, thank you. Rachel Moreles, thank you as well. Claudette Malaspina says, thanks, Adam from Canada. Dex, mods, all you guys do. Love from Ontario, Canada. Hundrug Blanche, thank you so much for subscribing just a minute ago. Amber B Subaru WRX says, I saw military vehicles coming up I-5. Thank you so much for letting us know. And then, of course, Claire Hornick, the Spirit Walker, Pirate Chain R, and then Kimberly Landis. Thank you for subscribing as well. Hacking Group Anonymous issues warning to Elon Musk, claiming too much power influences Bitcoin prices. So when this came out, of course, some people laughed. I wouldn't be laughing if Anonymous is coming back. Anonymous was a huge group of just, average Joes, some of them extremely talented and extremely scary with their skills. This is, again, International Hacking Collective Anonymous say that they plan to target Elon Musk for sending the price of cryptocurrencies plunging with his tweets. Now, what happened is Anonymous actually had people pressuring. They had 3-letter agencies basically charging and just wiping Anonymous out. If anybody was caught in Anonymous a few years back after a couple banks got hacked, then you were done. They put strict rules. Dex, do you remember that when Anonymous was really big and they were doing some big hacks?
Oh yeah, I remember a lot of the information that was coming out that they were revealing.
they were leaking stuff. They were doing all sorts of things. And anonymous, their whole point is that they're, anonymous, that it could be anybody next to you that's this person. And it actually grew really big. It's never actually gone away. It lost some of its some of its oomph. There's a channel on YouTube, and I don't know how related to the real anonymous that is. Again, the real channel on YouTube, the anonymous, the big one, or anonymous official, mostly plays David Icke videos. So I don't know if David Icke bought that channel or something. I don't know. But again, they're still around, and it's still a big thing. Do I think that they're going to be the ones that take out our grid? No. I think that they would take out, big banks or something like that, or take somebody out that would hurt. They would go after an Elon Musk or something like that. It says on Thursday, Mark issued a cryptic tweet that many in the world of digital assets interpreted as the billionaires' breakup with Bitcoin. That tweet included the Bitcoin logo and a broken heart emoji, which is absolutely crazy that he can just tweet that and that can affect the price of it, which is pretty nuts. I also tweeted a couple of his tweets recently. He did. He said the United States, America, and Canada, and he just said those three words. I thought that he might be meaning AMC stock. And if you actually do America, Canada, and Mexico, it goes AMC. AMC just happened to crash. I wondered if he was actually kind of signaling to his buddies to buy that, because then he was going to rep it and then it goes right up. I don't know. If you look at his Twitter, he actually does a lot of weird cryptic tweets. And people know it and they joke about it. But I think this guy is not only connected, this guy is now contracted with many different government agencies and possibly contracted to try to save the world. Now, when I say that, people might go, oh, what the hell are you talking about? You should look at the list of stuff his businesses are doing. They're digging tunnels and burrowing tunnels underground, and they're putting satellites that are detectors for hypersonic speed objects, and they're detecting hypersonic speed asteroids. Starlink is also a sensor for asteroids and for hypersonic missiles. And then, of course, Neuralink is to battle the AI and what's to come, all sorts of crazy stuff. Not to mention Tesla is actually helping all of the grids now. They're going to be going in and putting backup batteries for our grid because obviously there's some sort of big threat there. It says it sent Bitcoin plunging. This is a tweet that had a broken heart emoji and the Bitcoin sign. 7% during trading on Friday. Anonymous were forthright in their frustration with Musk. Says millions of retail investors were really counting on their crypto gains to improve their lives. This is something that you will never understand because you were born into the stolen wealth of South African apartheid emerald mine and have no clue what struggle is like for the most working people in the world. It says, of course, they took the risk upon themselves when they invested, and everyone knows to be prepared for volatility in crypto, but your tweets this week show a clear disregard for the average working person. As hardworking people have their dreams liquidated over your public temper tantrums, you continue to mock them with your memes from one of your $1 million mansions. And actually, it probably is a $1 billion mansion, not to correct you. Don't hack me. It says Musk has been a major promoter of cryptocurrencies, but has turned critical of Bitcoin since suspending Tesla plans to take it for payment for cars. It's like, this is all a big joke, though. Like, Elon has gone back and forth. Dex, you as somebody who knows a lot about crypto, do you think it's irresponsible, or do you think that he's a good thing for Bitcoin?
Well, I mean, you want to enjoy it when he tweets good things about it, because if you're in crypto, you're making money. Some people play against the market, but most people are in it for it to grow. So you want to see him. Nobody's complaining when he's cheerleading. It's just as soon as he goes and poo-poos on the party, everybody gets upset, right?
Yeah.
But yes, he has great power with his tweets. The SEC called him out for it. Sort of put him on somewhat of a leash when it comes to public stocks. Curious to see what may or may not come. And I know there's a lot of rumblings about what they're going to do with cryptos. And I'm sure they're using Elon as an example of some of the problems and influences that are happening there.
And probably GameStop and all of that stuff that's happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reddit groups. This might be a way to control the internet and what you can say on Twitter and what you can say otherwise. Just not good. By MF Polar and stuff. YouTube says prayers for my darling Gone Girl 777. What's wrong with Gone Girl? Feel better. Okay, I just saw her in Jacob Israel's chat, so I was just hoping she's okay. Monograph Live says have a cigar. Well, I don't do cigars, and I can't. I would look. My head is too small. I think that's what it is. Dex, you smoke cigars. If I smoked a cigar, it would just not look right. The cigar would be the size of a baseball bat.
You might need a cigarillo.
Oh yeah. One that looks like a cigar, so then it looks normal. We'll just have to do angles on it.
But those are getting banned, so.
And then, yeah, everything's getting banned. Even flavored vapors and even flavored cigarettes like Newports. All right, and then Teresa F., thank you for your massive support tonight. Thank you for supporting Independent. And then RE55, thanks for being the last one out with Kelvar. Again, really thank you, everybody that's supporting tonight. And then over on D-Live, we have a really great crowd over there. We have Release the Quacken. Lisa K drops in with a Ninjagini, and even crazier, Redhead with Dreads. Redhead with Dreads just dropped a Ninjet. Redhead, I don't know if you're on the list. You might be. I actually have a list of every single person that has ever done a Ninjet on D-Live in the year and a half. Yeah, so thank you so much. And again, even if you're already on that list, thank you for basically bestowing the biggest compliment you can bestow on somebody on D-Live. Thank you, and thank you. Let's see here. Yeah. Cynthia Lynn, Prep for Life, a couple of the others, Buster the Dog, Moody Mom, N95 Hero, Nurse Betty, Stormy Weather, Tower Bear, Hammocker Forever, Jimmy Shively, all awesome people. Thank you guys for going above and beyond to support our channel. Dex and I greatly appreciate it. As you know, we would like it to be Dex and Dex and I and Bill and Bob and Susan and Steve and a whole team. So thank you guys for helping us get there. Priscilla R, Susan Big, Grand Maravan, Scooby-Doo Do-Right, of course, Tribulation Force. Thank you. All of the new subscribers on the channel. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Okay, and then, of course, U.S. recovers millions in cryptocurrency paid to Colonial Pipeline ransomware hackers. Really? So how did they do this, Dex? Tell me how this is, if they can go in and take this back.
Yeah, so it sounds like, when they coordinated with the FBI before they paid, and there were certain things that they could try to do to track it. And if the hackers were left holes open, then it could potentially be recovered. And turns out that sounds like that might have been the case, or at least that's what's being reported. That they were able to pull back a couple $1 million from that. So,
okay, do you guys realize what this means, though? That group is going to be super pissed off. So they were able to take down the East Coast, half of the infrastructure on our fuel pipeline on the East Coast, and they paid the ransomware, got their stuff back, and now they just snatched the money back after it was given. And again,
it's about half, because I think they got back 2.3, and I want to say they paid 4.4, 4.5. So it's about half.
So tell me, how the hell did they do that? Even if they tracked it, how does that work? How can a government go in and go, oh, these are illegal Bitcoin, we're going to snatch them back? Who do they tell? See, this is why I don't like Bitcoin. Explain to me how the government was able to go in and snatch it back.
Well,
there's no main office of
I don't know
crypto.
if this is exactly what was happening, but if the coins were being laundered through an exchange, the exchange is a company. And that could be, and if that company has cooperation, which most do because US carries a pretty big stick, they can go in and say, hey, this is illegal. You don't want us to come down on you for it. So you need to send it back or send it here or do whatever. That's the only thing I could think of. It wasn't actually disclosed how they did it. But if it was going through another company, which a lot of times this is done from, a washing point of view, that's probably what happened.
So, if they said, hey, we want 5 million in crypto and we want it through this exchange, from now on, they're probably going to say, hey, we want it through this exchange or something. This is what I don't get. Think about this. How did the government, they had to ask this exchange, and then that exchange was able to track that and pull it out? From what I understood is that this was, that this is on this big network and there is no central thing. It's decentralized. So how the hell did they get it back? They were able to mark dollars?
Because when they send it, let's just say they ask for 4.4 and they ask for it. Let's just keep it simple. They say, send it to this one wallet. Well, everyone knows what that wallet is. It's public, right? So what they have to do is take that wallet and break it into pieces and start sending from that wallet to other wallets. And that's where they have to start following it. And there's privacy coins they can use that try to obfuscate that. And then you can run that stuff, say, through 4 or 5 different exchanges where you send it to this exchange, transfer it to another exchange. And all those exchanges are using, using wallets that aren't necessarily as easy to follow without being inside that exchange, if that makes sense. So that's sort of the path they go through. And if they're good about it, they can pretty much keep themselves hidden. But if they screw up, then they can find it, right? And that's what happened.
You know too much about this, Dex. Are you sure that you had nothing to do with this?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Too long? Probably. Blinken says U.S. building coalition to hold countries harboring hackers responsible. Washington has accused hackers with ties to Russia of carrying out the recent hack against the Colonial Pipeline and a major Brazilian meat producer's U.S. subsidiary, without providing evidence to back up its claims. Russia has regularly denied that it engages in hacking attacks against the U.S. and has proposed expanding cyber cooperation, which is just weird in itself. It says the United States is working to build an international coalition to hold countries harboring ransomware hackers accountable, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken has announced. It says, quote, we are working to develop a counter-ransomware strategy to protect all of our networks, and of course, this requires working closely with the private sector. Oh, see, this is where it would come in, right? Since many of these things are controlled by the private sector, to disrupt and destroy ransomware infrastructure and ecosystems, to find and bring justice to those responsible, to build an international coalition, say one order, hold countries who harbor those engaged in ransomware attacks accountable, Blinken said, speaking at the House Foreign Affairs Committee hearing at the State Department's 22 budget. Dex.
So we were just talking about how under the umbrella of cyber threats, the government was going in and doing things in private businesses, right? They had a pretty broad reaching warrant that it gave them permission to go in and do certain things. And they were either doing that or potentially doing more. It just seems like this umbrella is being cast now to say, well, we're going to go protect everybody, but we're also, what's going to happen on the flip side? Are they going to say we're going to build this coalition across the world, this one world coalition to fight this? from a point of view of harboring them, but then are they going to turn around and say, on a tech side, we're going to ask for access, and we're going to need to be engaged and involved in all of these private businesses cybersecurity, right? Like, what's going to happen next?
So obviously and it's weird because we just covered that Russia is separating. They are obviously separated their internet, so they have the capability of just cutting off the rest of the world, which before wasn't possible. They have their own system now, but they also said that they were separating their money. Now they're talking about working together on all of this. I don't know. It seems weird. I'll read this quote. It says, "This is a critical moment for the United States and our global leadership," Blinken said, speaking more generally of the budget request. "We've got to revitalize our alliances and partnerships, outcompete China, and defend the international rules-based order against those who would seek to undermine it." Of course, there's something bigger happening underneath all of this. This is official. Like, this is government versus government, groups versus groups, and the public doesn't know anything. If you know anything, though, and here's a real message to you: if you know anything and you want to come forward or come forward anonymously, contact us. Again, Adam or Dex at marfooglenews.com. So you can go Adam at marfooglenews.com or Dex at marfooglenews.com. If you want to tell us some stuff that we can get out there and you have proof behind it, we can try. And then Putin signs law ending Russia's open skies treaty with the U.S. So saw this coming a million miles away. In fact, it's almost like they let me fly over to see it coming. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Monday signed a law to officially end the country's open skies treaty with the U.S. less than 2 weeks before his meeting with President Xi in Geneva. Last month, the Xi administration told Russia that it had no plans to rejoin the arms control pact that was abandoned during the T-Man administration. It says, of course, and then again, Xi actually called T's move short-sighted. It says former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo tweeted last November, quote, "America is more secure after withdrawing from the 1992 treaty. Russia remains in non-compliance with its obligations," he said, according to the Arms Control Association. Reuters reported that Moscow called Xi's decision not to rejoin the pact a political mistake. The Wall Street Journal's editorial board praised Mr. Xi's decision not to rejoin the pact as it was aimed to build trust between Russia and the West by allowing the Accord's more than 36 signatories to conduct reconnaissance flights over each other's territories to collect information about military forces and activities. The U.S. relationship has been strained with Moscow as its assertiveness in Ukraine, recent hacks, and backing of Belarus President Alexander Lukashenko, which, of course, that whole situation has become just a complete mess. Dex, this is not, of course, not good, but it's pretty expected.
It's definitely not surprising, right?
No, not surprising at all. But would this also mean, is this is a marker in my mind that this is, the likelihood of us going to conflict with Russia should be just, that should be a fact right now. We don't need to fear like we did in the cold conflict, right? We don't, back in the day when you were a kid, you probably had drills, nuclear drills, where you got under your desk, like pointless drills, like if a nuke hits, you're gone, right? But they still did them. We don't need to put fear in people. Honestly, if anything happened, I don't think it would go nuclear. I think it would be conventional for quite a bit before they did stuff like that. And a lot of it would probably be cyber. I think that they would take our power out. They don't have to do more than that. They don't have to nuke a city. If they take out the power, we would do it ourselves.
And with all the cyber going on, it's almost obvious that it's already started, right? And you could say that. You could literally say it's already started.
Well, all's fair in war, right? So honestly, we wouldn't know. Look at all the cyber events that are happening. What I want to know, though, is what is happening to Russia's infrastructure right now? Are they having events that we're not hearing about in the mainstream news? It's actually, quite unique to hear about it. Are they having cities have their power go out? I want to know that. Drone refuels U.S. Navy fighter jet in midair for the first time. An unmanned aircraft successfully refueled a U.S. fighter jet in midair for the first time, officials said Monday. A Navy FA-18 Super Hornet and a Boeing-made drone were briefly connected by a hose as they drone transferred jet fuel to the aircraft in the skies over the Midwest during Friday's test flight. This is it's cool and scary at the same time. This is a refuel in the sky by a drone. That's pretty nuts and very efficient. And the fact that this is a fighter jet getting refueled by a drone, that actually gives us a huge advantage too. Think about that, Dex. If you have a team of fighters that used to have to go back and refuel or meet up with a human being, you could send up a drone to actually just fly along with them and then refuel them.
And our current tankers, right? The ones that currently refill most of them, they're these big lumbering, large, planes with just giant tanks on them, right?
Yeah.
And they're manned. So I don't know how vulnerable they are, but I imagine they're becoming more vulnerable as technology advances. So having something that's unmanned and probably at least has less risk of life.
Well, and if you were in a fuel plane and you got shot up, I'm sure that thing would probably blow sky high or sky low, I guess. Ski low, sky low. Either way, I wouldn't want to be in a plane full of jet fuel and then have things firing at me. That would probably be a better thing for a drone to do. Let's see here. And then we have the E1. Let's see here. And hold on. Before we talk to the wand to expedite, look at this. Okay. Before that, hold on. Let's see if we can get here. Okay, hold on. This one's crazy. E1 to expedite China's attempt to topple U.S. dollar as world's dominant reserve currency. So here's a big one. So we've been talking about it for a while, a long time. How many of you believe, and I'm going to turn the chat on for this so we can get a vote here from the audiences. Okay, so how many of you believe in the next 2 years or so, or let's just say within the next 3 years, our dollar, the U.S. dollar, is going to collapse? Any country, anybody who's watching from wherever, press 1 if you think that it is likely to collapse. 2, if you think that it will take longer than that. 3, if you don't think it will ever collapse. 1, if it's likely to collapse in the next 3 years. 2, if it will take longer than that. 3, if you don't think it's going to collapse at all. Wow. Okay. So again, there's over 3,000 people watching just on YouTube, and then we have, I'm assuming, close to 1,000 on DLive. That's a lot of ones. Very few twos popping in here. Wow, look at all of those. Just, I'm sure the chat's just blasting through. Somebody says 2 months for sure. Somebody just said Buddha. Buddha. What was the question? 4 plus 4? Buddha. What time is it? Buddha. It's 4:20. Buddha. Sorry. Bad Wolf GG, thank you so much. Thank you for the Ninja Genie. Says, love listening, but have to catch the rest on the replay. Lots of love. Bad Wolf GG, thank you for your support. And if you already tuned out, here's something special for you. Bad Wolf GG, hi. Thanks for coming back. If they're not here and they do watch the replay, that will be really funny. Jammer1, thank you. Saul to Paul, thank you for being here. And Jammer, thanks for gifting out badges. You're a mod, though, and it really does kind of bug me that Jammer still supports as a mod. It doesn't bug me in a bad way. It's like really cool that he cares about giving out badges and Mafia badges over in DLive. Thank you guys. Thank you for your support. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Jammer. You guys regularly end up on the leaderboard, even though I've told you several times you do not have to donate. You are doing something by modding. So are all of the other mods. CJ Blaze has not. I mean, she rarely misses a show. All of my mods, whether they're watching or chatting or not, I know that everybody's going through everything. Lisa R. Hall, West Virginia, who's now. Now we've got all sorts of new screen names to remember. All right, so it says the Chinese government has stepped up efforts to challenge the dominance of the U.S. dollar as a global reserve currency since 2016, when the International Monetary Fund added the yuan renminbi to its special drawing rights basket. Despite still being a dominant currency across the globe, the share of the U.S. dollar held worldwide by the government, central banks, and other financial institutions as foreign exchange reserves have reached its lowest level in the last 25 years at 59% during the fourth quarter of the financial year 2020. It says the IMF's currency composition of official foreign exchange reserve coffer survey has found in the U.S. dollar has declined mostly due to increasing competition from other currencies used by central banks for international transactions. Okay, so if you don't know, any country that has gone up against us and tried to take the dollar down has been destroyed. But can we do that with China? That's a question I would like you to ask yourself. Honestly, it's not as easy as some of the others. You know, it's just like they took out every country. Gaddafi, they took out Saddam. They took out anybody that threatened to use it to replace or to use something else instead of the U.S. dollar for certain things was gone. What do you think, Dex?
Well, the writing's on the wall in the sense that the biggest powers out there, both China and Russia, would love to separate themselves and have no dependence on the U.S. dollar, not only for their own independence, but to also, stick it to the U.S. and say that they're better than the U.S. is, and the way the U.S. is operating as a free market economy is not successful. I think that's what they want. I think that's what they want to see happen.
So obviously there are a lot of steps, and we've shown you point blank that it's pretty obvious. I don't see how this isn't heading towards something. I don't get how people don't see the signs. We saw the signs before WW2. We saw the signs before WW1. They knew that we were at odds. They saw the different things that were happening. We saw the different events that later on we found out through both governments that ended up being operations done by both governments. There were events. There were even events where people, where whole, buildings were taken down, and we didn't realize until 60 years later that it was part of the whole thing to get WW2 and WW1 going. Ships, all sorts of. I mean, there are so many different events that have happened that have triggered a world conflict, and almost every time there's fishiness around it. Lucia Barrera, thank you so much for joining. Kimberly Landis, thank you for subscribing. Samson's Animal House says, hey, Foogle fam, Adam, Dex, and mods. This my new channel. Well, Samson's Animal House, good luck with your new channel. And then Evelyn Cruzata, thank you for joining just a few minutes ago. Thank you for subscribing. Welcome to the Foogle fam. As always, if you subscribe during the show, you will get a shout out. And then Anna, Lily's mom, massive support. Thank you so much for a $50 super chat backed right back to back with Gone Girl. Thank you, Gone Girl 777, also for your massive support. I was hoping you were okay. Somebody said pray for you. Didn't know if something happened that I didn't know. It was nice seeing you in Jacob Israel's chat earlier. That was a great show. If you guys have not checked out Jacob Israel, he had a really, really great show today. It was like 2,500 people watching live. It was a great show. And his book is out. Make sure to go check that out as well. His book, The Calling, is out on Amazon. Just look it up. It is really good. And I think it's only $11.11. How's that for signs there? And then radar picks up giant cicada cloud over Maryland. Just by reading, of course, once you read it, you kind of get it, but it's like, by reading that, do you think that it's cicadas? It says, trillions of cicadas have finally emerged from the ground in Maryland for the first time in 17 years. There appears to be so many of them across Baltimore, Washington metropolitan area that local radar has detected a giant cicada cloud. What? Okay. Dex, this is like straight up biblical, right? Like plagues of bugs. It's so big that it popped up on the entire radar.
Yeah, this has been happening around lots of different areas in the U.S. because this is the 17th year or the year for the cicadas to come out. And we had them here in Georgia too, but I don't recall any news in our area saying that we had them on radar. But that's a pretty big radar image for cicadas.
Again, it says weather radar images around 1141 Eastern detected the cloud of cicadas. This is not rain, not ground clutter. The radar beam picking up objects close to the radar site, which is Loudoun County. It says the hydrometer collection classification algorithm identifies this as biological in nature. So likely cicadas being picked up by the radar beam. She tweeted, what if they're not? Do they have guarantee this is cicada? I wonder if they posted pictures with the cicadas. Were people on the ground calling in and going, hey, there's just thousands and thousands of cicadas. Otherwise, if something's that big and the radar picks it up as biological, that's freaking creepy. I'm sure it was cicadas, but right? Holiday Kisser says, I killed a huge spider. I saw that. I actually watched that on radar. I watched it disappear. Let's see here. Mick 2215, big exercise going on around the Capitol as well. Actually, mini UFOs, says Jehan. Lady Yolanda says it's enough of them. Mr. Gates drones. Sayakuda, I say cicada. You say cicada, I say cicada. You say cicada, I say cicada. Tomato. Those bugs are something else. 3, the blob. Okay, Grandma Sassy Pants. You're probably a little bit delayed because you're answering the question I asked, but we were just joking, and I was talking to my sister. It's like we have now had almost every like weird kind of plague, and I said, what would be one that we couldn't have, right? The blob. Because we just had yesterday or the day before thousands of crows attacking people in Rome. No joke. There's so many crows in Rome protecting their newborns that they're attacking people as they come out of their homes. We should have actually put that in here, but I forgot to. And then, of course, earthquakes. Okay, so over the last weekend, everybody was buzzing, and it seems like once the earthquakes stop kind of shaking, everybody forgets about this. If you are on the West Coast right now, you need to be completely and utterly prepared, and you need to start drilling. Every single time that we have shaky movements along the West Coast, in California, anywhere, that is one more thing that it's like you got lucky that this wasn't the big one. More than 150 earthquakes shook the California-Mexico border, with the largest registering 5.3. This, of course, was recorded Saturday in a rural area near the Salton Sea in Southern California, with the largest having a magnitude of 5.3. It says there have been 152 earthquakes measuring all magnitudes. Paul Caruso, seismologist, said. Caruso said that the area is not heavily populated, but that it is known to have swarms in the past. And then, of course, it says the earthquakes were ranging from 2.5 to 5.3. That's a lot. So that was a huge earthquake swarm. And then, of course, we had... Hold on here. I wanted to make sure I do have it here. Hold on. Oh, yes. This is a big deal, and I'm glad that a lot of you are already on top of this. No tsunami warnings after 2, not 1, but 2 5.9 magnitude earthquakes hit off of the Oregon coast. It said this was early Friday morning. It says the tremors occurred 89 miles and 98 miles west of the coastal town of Gold Beach, Oregon, after 1 a.m. Friday morning. A few people reported light shaking on the coast. The USGS report showed at least 5 earthquakes ranging in magnitudes 3.2 to 5.9 have occurred in the area in the last few hours, according to USGS. Okay, so this was Friday. Then Saturday we had all of the earthquakes, California down to Mexico. I don't have to be a Dutch sense. I don't have to be a genius to know that all the way down the coastline we're having shaking movements. We've got the North American plate. We've got the Marfoogle. We can have a massive event. So I hope that everybody is prepared for anything, including storms, hurricanes, tornadoes, all of that. But if you are on the West Coast and anywhere near the West Coast, then you should be prepared for anything to happen, including a massive 9.0, anywhere from 8.0 to 9.0. If we have California have its massive earthquake, the big one, or if we have the Northwest up above it have their big one. And again, that is going to be bigger than anyone will ever see in their lifetime. I think that it will be bigger than Japan. I think it will be big as India or as big as Japan or bigger, but only right on cities, right on the side of cities. So everybody needs to get their crap together. 2 5.9s off of Oregon, you know that the experts are looking at that with the hair on the back of their neck standing up. All right, North Shore Preparedness from Canada says, Adam, I've paid for lots of diapers. This is for ice cream for the kids. Bless you and Dex for what you're doing. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for your support, and thank you again for just sticking around. You've been here for at least a year or two now. Average Jeff Homesteader Prepper, shout out for the best news around. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. That is incredibly appreciated. And thank you to the 3,200 people over on on YouTube, and over on DLive. Thank you for Kelly2334 popping in with a Ninja Guinea, Vault111, Maui Racing Realtor, Bear Claws, Carolina Roots, Key Shara, great call the other day. Carolina Roots, just want to shout out my Foogle fam, says Carolina Roots. Priscilla R. We, of course, got Bad Wolf GG, Scooby-Doo Right, Griffle, and that Chowky Gal. And then, of course, we have humans that have the untapped ability to regenerate body parts just like salamanders, scientists claim. It says humans have the untapped ability to regenerate body parts like salamanders, and it says that this is what a team of researchers is saying. The axolotl, a Mexican salamander, all but extinct in the wild, is a champion of regeneration, able to recreate most any body part, including the brain. What? Okay, I didn't know that. I've seen them like regrow their tails or regrow their limbs, but they say including the brain. How the heck does that work? You're saying you smash their head, it will regenerate. That's like invincibility. It says they focused on understanding why the axolotl doesn't form a scar or why it doesn't respond to injury in the same way that a mouse or other mammals do. They found that immune cells called macrophages promoted the growth of tissue cells in the salamander, but produced scarring in the mouse. It says the team say a formation of scars could be responsible for blocking regeneration in mammals, and that in the future, blocking brain pathways that lead to scarring could allow humans to regrow lost limbs or improve overall health. Dex, Think about this. What about in the Bible days where they said people lived to 900 years? What if something changed from then to now? What if people really were living to 900 years? Right? What if science could prove it?
And scarring is the key. That's kind of interesting concept that they've got. But yeah.
They're basically asserting that humans are capable of doing this too if we can figure something out. It says they have a unique ability to regenerate and rather than healing through scarring, can produce new limbs in just months. They can also regenerate tails, central nervous systems, eyes, and hearts. They can even restore less vital parts of their brain and take transplants from others without issue. What? So you can cut off the leg of a salamander, cut off both legs, and swap them, and it will regrow, no issue. This is, nature is so amazing. It's absolutely, it's like, how can people think that there's nothing like a God that created this stuff? It's just too unbelievable. Furious boxing fans claim Logan Paul's exhibition bout against Floyd Mayweather was fixed. It says furious fans claim that Logan Paul's was fixed and have accused Floyd Mayweather of throwing his fight with Logan Paul after footage of the legendary boxer appearing to hold up his opponent rather than letting him slump to the canvas emerged. It says Mayweather dominated the contest at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, but was surprisingly unable to stop Paul, with the rookie surviving the full 8 rounds of their exhibition bout. It says, but fight fans have now hit out at Mayweather, claiming that the undefeated 44-year-old deliberately stopped Paul from collapsing in order to extend the fight. It said, despite landing a flurry of punches which looked to have ended the YouTuber's challenge. The clip during the fight shows an exhausted Paul stepping back towards the ropes before the social media sensation looked to thrust out a heavy right hand. Mayweather was able to evade the hook with ease and responded with a blow of his own, crashing into Paul's head. The 26-year-old then slumped forward towards Money, who promptly unleashed an uppercut. The odds were firmly stacked against Paul coming into the clash, and the evening looked to be over for him after he visibly sagged forward onto Mayweather. So wait, how would that be fixed, though? So everybody knows this is Floyd Mayweather.
Well, I think
Mayweather, the best fighter in the world. One of them.
Yeah, I think the thing is they would get paid. The rumor is, because nobody knows what they're getting paid because it's an exhibition from Showtime, I think it was. But the theory is if they made it last 8 rounds, they got a bonus. They got paid more, or the network got paid more or something like that. So that's the theory, because and the memes, you got to show some of the memes at the bottom of this article, because everybody just went off. But I didn't watch this, but apparently, it was like a hug fest, the whole fight.
Okay, well, that's kind of like Logan Paul and KSI, I think. I've watched all of them recently, and it's like Logan Paul and KSI, the first 2 rounds are them just hugging. What in the heck is this, though? Okay, that's not boxing. Okay, so that is Paul slumped forwards onto Mayweather at multiple points during their widely watched bout. What's crazy is Paul's a very fit dude. This guy is he's got an incredible physique, and he's athletic, he's tall. Floyd Mayweather is actually, if you look at him when his last fight was, even then he was just in stupendous shape. You can already tell since he's retired, he's not, doing what he was doing every day. You have to do stuff nonstop every day to be in the kind of shape that Floyd Mayweather was, his entire career. And when you retire, you probably just want to relax and not hit the gym, 10 hours a day. But the size difference alone could have ended badly for, Floyd, even though he's undefeated. But Floyd is too fast. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. So I see that. I think that it was. I would assume it's rigged. It says the whole thing is rigged like WWE. It isn't a sport. It's the equivalent of soap opera in America. It's embarrassing. I mean, come on. The guy fought. They were doing YouTuber exhibitions. Oh, this is so cute. Where is the love? And I will always love you. Oh, that is so cute. That hit me out of nowhere. Oh my gosh. Live look at Floyd Mayweather versus Logan Paul. No. I'm going to tell my kids this was Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul. Oh. Floyd after hugging Logan for 8 rounds. Yeah. Good on him, right? Hey, if that pays your kid's college 10 times over, then I guess go ahead and hug away. I saw some of the clips of them fighting, and definitely the punches looked real. That's for sure. I don't think it was completely faked, but like WWE, yeah, I can get that. All right, and then if you have not, today's show is brought to you by Nord. If you haven't checked them out, please go over and do so so we can pay our bills. Again, NordVPN, marfooglenews.com/VPN. It's a virtual private network to protect yourself from cyber criminals. When you actually use this link, not only do you get a gigantic discount, but you also help the show at the same time. Thank you, everybody that has done so, and thank you for all the Foogles that have helped us keep going. So really do appreciate all of you, and thanks again. All right, Dex, can you tell me about some of the other news here? So we've got some stuff at the end of the website here.
Absolutely. So if you head over to marfooglenews.com, click on the thumbnail for the show, and scroll down, you will see the web-only content. And lots of interesting things going on there. Some more interesting things from the Supreme Court. We've got more of that contest that's been going on in Arizona, but more news coming from other states that are on there. And then some interesting things with the VP, and even the former Prez has some things that have come out. So go take a look. All the stuff we just can't cover on the show, it's right there on the website. It's really easy to get to, marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail, scroll down, look for web-only content.
Now, one question I have for everyone is, so say without a shadow of a doubt, if let me ask you this, and even if you support, no matter who you support, if they all of a sudden turned 180 and all the media said it is without a shadow of a doubt that one person won over the other, would you then say that even if you hate the guy, would you say then he should come back in? Or I guess to the people that absolutely hate him with your soul, which again, it sounds like about half of the U.S. does, would you say that he should be put back in? If you say no, then ask yourself, why? How would that make it better for any of us?
Highlight that Bush headline. Just show it on screen. People need to look at that one too.
Bankrolled by. This foundation has been brought to you by the Chinese Communist Party. Yeah, that's pretty bad. So thank everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you for the 3,300 over on YouTube, and thank you for all of the folks over on DLive. Thank you everybody that has supported us. El Luna 3377. I love Dosh Hounds. Thank you so much, El Luna. Thank you, and thank you. As always, it is now officially time for the shoutro.
Don't forget to tip your waitresses.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so this isn't even part of the show. This is something that I wanted to add here because it is it's just a rant, okay? Let's see here. Okay, so Why does the burden always fall on consumers instead of these corporations? Uber Eats driver cries after getting low tips, sparking debate. So I've seen a lot of these lately, and I want to give my perspective before making something that sounds insensitive. So this gentleman basically starts crying and says, I wish people knew what it was like. I'm 4 months behind in my car payment. I'm about to be homeless, and I'm not even going to have a car to hold myself. He drove around for an hour for a $1.19 tip. So first off, a lot of the commercials make it sound like Uber Eats is good money and all of this. I don't understand why people don't understand that if you are a delivery driver, there are really crappy people out there that don't tip. I have worked service. My wife has worked service. Anybody who has worked in the restaurant business, almost all of them, and there's a lot of us, you always tip well, because even if it's bad service, you tip the minimum. You tip the 20%, whatever. And if they're better, you tip more. You might be saying, oh, I wouldn't do that. If you've worked in service, a lot of us do, because we understand that I've lived off my tips. So this video, it's like that prick who donated $1.19. But let me ask you this. You're doing a job where you might be bringing them a $6 item all the way from somewhere, and it might take you an hour in traffic. $1 is actually technically, it might even fit in the thing here. All I want to say, though, is that this gentleman here that starts crying, it's like, I'm sorry. I actually don't feel much sympathy, and the reason why is he has a car right now, and he chooses to destroy it by delivering when there are other jobs out there. And there's so many jobs that would be a little bit harder, that you wouldn't be sitting down on, but that you could, if you're young, you can do. Just to explain, when I didn't have a job, I did Labor Ready. And at the point, I didn't have a car. Labor Ready here is like basically a temp service. You go, you have to get there at 4 o'clock in the morning. You have to sit, and if there's a job, you might get it. You basically you go out and you'll go to a construction site, and they'll have you dig holes. You're a temp. One day you'll go to Starbucks warehouse and just lift boxes, and they'll pay you just absolute nothing. They take a huge cut. They'll pay you $22 an hour. They pay, and then they give you 10 or 12, right? Well, for any of those people with a car, those people, on the days that I sat there from 4 a.m. to midnight waiting for a job, the people with the cars, they would walk in and instantly get a job because they have a ride and they don't have to take a bus to the job site. They would immediately go. And they would take 3 people with, get an extra, and they would always work. Once I got a car, I had no problem at any temp service across the country getting a job, and it was crap work. But I dug ditches. I even cleaned out stadiums with a blower. My friend Jack, we worked 14 hours straight with 40-pound blowers on our back. And that's what we did every single morning. So there's work out there if you're not too lazy to go work. And I'm sorry, there's a lot of people that are in this new generation that just want everything to come easy, including work. You have to walk 10 feet to go to the McDonald's, then go 10 feet to the door, and then the rest you're sitting in your car. Nothing against anybody who does Uber Eats or Uber delivery, but understand it's destroying your car. And if somebody is a crappy tipper, that's not Uber Eats or that's not DoorDash. That's a piece of crap. And you know that when you go into getting the job. Just saying. But on that person who tipped $1.19, you're a piece of crap. Honestly, even if it's a $5 item and that's 20%, don't even order food if you can't tip. Don't go to a bar and have a drink if you can't tip. Don't go to a restaurant if you can't tip. Teach your kids that too. Otherwise, they'll grow up to be these millennials that will have somebody drive for an hour and tip them $1.19. All right, that's my rant. If you disagree, I totally put it in the comments below. If you think that I am completely wrong. I think that if you work hard enough and if you're not above taking jobs, that you will get a job. And by the way, I got hired on permanently to at least 3 different companies every time. I maybe did 2 or 3 months of the temp stuff and tell one of those companies they're allowed to hire you on and snatch you for a fee. I got hired on every time because I was hardworking and I went out and worked. So if you want a job, you can find a good job. Even I was doing flooring for $25 an hour for malls and stuff, and it was awesome. All right, let's get out of here. Dex, thank you so much for your service today. I appreciate you.
Much love.
And for those of you who just went over and supported via PayPal, I thank you guys. There was some people that did it during the show. Karen W., thank you so much. Greg says, do not worry about the rich in luxury submarines. Let's see here. Though they hide themselves under the sea, from where I will command the serpent, and he will bite them. Jesus is the way, says Greg. Thank you so much. Kevin C. over on PayPal says, Manatees for Humanity is my new channel. Love and strength for everyone who needs it. Lisa R., thank you so much, says, watching the recording. Thanks for the real news. Thank you. I hope that, okay, Lisa R., thank you. Veteran Steve says, may not talk much, but present and accounted for each stream. Veteran Steve, don't worry about it. I still shout you out as almost every show anyways. Families for always keeping a safe and open space for all. God bless everyone. And then RE55, thanks for your massive support. That's unnecessary. Thanks, Adam and Dex, for all your hard work. Much love, Foogle fam. Reed, a.k.a. RE55. And then Gary C., thank you, and thank you for your support. All right, guys, be safe, be prepared, and Marf out.
Satire, bring it down, I'm more satire. Phoenix, Foxwell, and the rest, they all know they go and just bring down. The corporation's gonna bring down. Bring it up and bring it up now. And no, if I bring it down, and no, silly mama, great job, or something's Animal House and Mr. Palm. I gotta die, oh, I'm gonna bring it back, and so Paul, I'm gonna bring the jams. Carry on that W and that red hat with jazz. Bring it back, and they said they said. Red hat with jazz. 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 Laura Griffith, Kit Kat, and Kaiser Sparks. Dark Truth and Harry Balls and Mr. Parks. Just Bear and Julia and some bar. And an Andre Architect and all of them and then Vance Benderin and Gold Coin. Red hat with jazz. Red hat with jazz. Red hat with jazz. Red hat with jazz. Red hat with and a brown recluse, and it's so much pain. I've got my jammer wanting Lisa pain, and everybody's gonna fight. It's so much pain. Holiday kisser and a postmaker, they do it all night, and it's all nighter. And Dick J, I am number Rex on me. I said I'd be there, and all of you will all love me. Suicide on Pearson, I bring it down. I've seen it though, everybody got the crown. I saw a deer tonight, I drank a beer tonight, I found no fear tonight, I had a beer tonight, oh, so long. I've got the knowledge, I've got it so funny, caffeinated soul and Chase Bernard. Xavier says Sheba and Jenny Texas, Chase Bernard and many exes. A team angel gets her and everybody goes home. A holiday kisser and a gentle must know. Juanita Torres and a gentle must act know. Team angel. Gonga 777, Gonga 777, Gonga 777, Gonga 777. Mid Mofro, sub this one. Oh yeah. Gonga 777, I appreciate you. 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 Gonga 777 won't move down. Super running over in the court to die. On the Duva, on the shop, on the sushi. Bring it on down in the Edens on sushi. Pizza, being moving flamenco. Gotta bring you with flamenco. Dance like you've never danced before. 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 Lisa R. Hall and Nancy's back.